This week on Competition Ready, avid car enthusiast and Hollywood celebrity Adam Carolla has asked us to help him prepare two of his prized vintage Lamborghinis for auction. And as we know, when you're selling, first impressions are everything. So it's our task to make these incredible supercars just a little more super. Time to get to work. When the world's top builders need their cars to shine, they call Autogeek and their team of expert detailers to prepare their custom creations for some of the most prestigious automotive events in the industry. Join Mike Phillips and me as we team up with the country's top surface technicians to polish these incredible cars to perfection at that critical final moment before the doors open and the crowds begin to arrive. From the shop to the show, we're there to make these rides competition ready. Welcome to the private celebrity collection of Adam Carolla. Adam's always had a love for fast cars, and his garage reflects that love. However, every now and then, it's necessary to let a few of your babies go. This 1965 black Lamborghini 350 GT and this dark blue 1967 Lamborghini Islero are slated to roll across the block in Amelia Island, Florida. Now, it's time to get these two vintage rides looking their best.
I liked the Lamborghinis because they were exotic. The Islero, they made 240 something. The 350 GT, they made 120 something. So I don't care if you go to the biggest all-Italian car show, you're still probably not gonna see a 350 GT. I love these Lamborghinis. I made a deal. The deal was I wanted the Porsche 935 that drove at Le Mans in 1979. It came in second overall, and it won its class. I want to race it. Unfortunately, it's expensive, and so in order to afford that car, I have to have a little bit of a fire sale here at the shop. So I called in Mike and AJ because they're the best, and I never knew until I watched a show that you could take it to that level. All right, you guys got your work cut out for you today, times two.
Yes.
That's a 69 Islero Lamborghini, a 4-liter V12. This is the first Lamborghini ever built. This is a 350 GT. This is a 65 V12, 3.5, 4-cam. I love both these cars, but unfortunately they're going to auction because I bought another car.
So you make room.
The other car made too much room in my wallet, so I have to refill that space. This one has a pigskin interior, which is a little rough around the seams.
These seats have definitely seen some use. We'll give them a thorough cleaning, but we're gonna have to be super careful around those split seams.
I'm sure this one has been painted. The black car started life as a black car. I think it got a respray a few years back. This one is really my baby. It's all original. Everything is as it was when it left the factory.
The 350 has a few challenges of its own, starting with the incredibly intricate wire rims.
I got a little trick for that.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, a little trick to make that at least easier. This car is so beautiful just in its body style, but it's the wire wheels and the knockoffs that really just give it that classic look that says Lamborghini.
This is gonna be a lot of work. And remember, these things are gonna be under the unforgiving lights of an auction block, so there will be no skimping.
The cars are always staged up somewhere for a preview for a day or two before the auction starts. So you'll see guys popping the hood and looking around. You know, it's not roped off.
And speaking of intricacies, Adam also wants us to tackle the engine compartments, which is gonna add a lot of extra time to our day.
What do you think? How much work?
A lot of work.
A lot.
I can't wait to see what these guys can do with these cars. I know I'm gonna be blown away. Knock it out of the park.
Okay.
We will.
I'm really excited to see how these things turn out.
Hey guys, come on in. Okay, guys, first thing we gotta do is, if you look, these things are incredibly dusty, okay? We cannot work on dusty cars, so we need to get these things cleaned up just using the Sonax Brilliant Shine Detailer, microfiber towels. Next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna do wheels and tires, engine compartment, interior, glass, and chrome. We're gonna save the paint for last. So let's go ahead and let's get to work.
We've decided to divide and conquer on these cars, with 2 teams working simultaneously, and Mike and I bouncing back and forth. These are some pretty incredible cars, but they've been left untouched for a long time. And if Adam wants to pull top dollar for these rides, they've got to look perfect. Here we go. Tomorrow, Adam's 2 amazing Lambos need to get loaded up to make their way across the country for auction in Florida. These cars have got to look flawless before they roll across the block, and there is no room for cutting corners. Not to worry, we've got our team, we've got our plan. Now we've just got to do what we do best.
My name is Alexander Weaver. I'm a car specialist with RM Sotheby's.
It's one of the biggest auctions in the world.
We're in our 19th year here at Amelia Island. In those 19 years, this show has grown exponentially, and it's just a massive gathering of great cars and great people, great collectors. It's really one of my favorite events of the year. We've most certainly been able to get fantastic examples for this auction because of the caliber of it and the caliber of the show and everybody who's attending it these days.
If Mike and AJ hit it out of the ballpark and these cars present like, wow, that's what we're going for.
So how's the baggy test coming along?
This car is incredibly contaminated. I don't know if I've ever felt a car so bad.
Can I
Yeah, try, you'll be blown away.
try and weep?
Yeah, it's really bad. The other one's not too bad. This one needs to be decontaminated really bad. Isn't that bad?
This is
What's amazing
really
is it
bad.
can look good, but be so contaminated at the same time. And of course, we talked about how we need to make these things just glisten, you know, for people inspecting them before the auction. And anytime you got contaminants like that, that's surface texture, that diminishes gloss. So when we decontaminate it, remove whatever this junk is off the paint, the glass, and the trim, it's gonna increase the gloss just by doing that step, let alone anything else.
So basically you're saying we're gonna need a little extra muscle today?
Yeah, for sure, yep. This thing is incredibly contaminated, so we're gonna use the Sonax clay discs with a flex polisher to decontaminate it. While we're doing that, I can get a couple people to go ahead and dive into the inside of the cars and start knocking out the glass and the leather. So for that, we're gonna use a dedicated Sonax leather cleaner, followed by a dedicated Sonax leather conditioner protectant, okay? And we really need to be careful on this car because some of the stitching's ripping up, but I can tell it's kind of grimy, and both of them are probably in dire need of a good cleaning. Ready to go? Let's break, let's do it. There are 2 basic types of paint in the car world. There's single stage, which is your lacquers and enamels, and then there's 2-stage, or what we call base coat, clear coat. And that's where they spray down the base coat, which is the color layer, and then put a clear layer over it. What happens when you start working on these classic or vintage cars is somewhere along the line they get repaired and they use a modern paint and just blend it in with the original paint. Now this is a white cloth and a white compound. This is actually the Sonax Cut Max, and it's real safe to use by hand or machine. And if I take and just kind of rub this on here and turn the towel over, if I don't see any color, that tells me this is a clear coat. If I turn it over and see blue, well, that tells me this is single stage. So this is a clear coat. But here's what's interesting. When I come up to the roof here, or even some of the other panels here, and do that same test, now I'm pulling pigment. And so that tells me that the front clip of this car has been repainted. It's a base coat, clear coat, or the same type of paint that's on the cars in most people's driveways. And the back of this very well may be the original paint. It's a single stage paint, as you can see by the pigment. I've also done some testing on the 1965, and everywhere I've tested so far, I'm pulling up no pigment. So that tells me that that has also been repainted using a base coat, clear coat paint system. And where this really starts to matter is single stages will tend to be soft. And so it's really easy, if you're not careful, to burn through, and I've actually found a couple burn throughs on the back part of this car. Clear coats tend to be harder, and that's good because that means the paint will last long over time, but it makes it harder for us to get the defects out because of that hardness factor. What you have on the Flex Polisher there is the Sonax clay disc. And this is actually glass cleaner, and this is what they recommend for a lube. And it actually kind of does two things. Besides lubricating it, it's also helping us to clean it a second time. So when we get ready to go to the paint polishing process, we're gonna be starting out with what I call a clean base, pure paint. What's real important is you wanna maintain pad rotation. So if you look, I put a little black mark there on the side of the pad.
Yeah.
So your eyes can tell that the pad's rotating. They make a crosshatch pattern. And then you usually do this about 6 or 8 passes. So here's 1, 2, 3, and so on.
So just to reconfirm, this is going to take the place of the claying.
Yeah, this is a substitute for detailing clay, and it does a better job.
All right.
I've gotta admit, working on these vintage Lamborghinis is pretty cool. But I don't think I ever realized how intricate these cars really are. They are expertly designed machines. And our job is to complement the mechanics with a killer shine. We're getting closer to making these Lamborghinis shine. And even though these cars are pretty small, we're discovering some issues with the paint that are taking a little extra time. But we knew what we were getting into, and we'll keep working until the job is done. Enough talk? Back to it.
All right, Mike, you tested the paint on this car, and we discovered that the front of the car, the paint is hard, and on the rear, it's soft. So how's this gonna work when it comes to polishing?
Well, it's not any more complicated than a car that has the same paint over the entire car. You just have to pick and choose the right products. Okay, so for the clear-coated sections up front where the paint is hard, we're gonna be cutting that with the Cut Max, which is a compound, to pull the deep swirls and scratches out, finish out with a perfect finish. So compound polish, that's normal protocol.
Okay.
Now, for the back, this is actually pretty soft paint. So for that, we're gonna use a one-step cleaner wax. And I know a lot of people might be saying, why use a one-step cleaner wax when you're trying to get this Lamborghini ready for show? Because the paint is soft, and this actually has some cutting power to remove swirls and scratches, I'm pretty confident it's gonna take care of it. And it's as aggressive as I wanna get with this car.
Yeah.
So I wanna err on the side of caution.
So my next question for you is, can we still use machines if we're seeing burn-throughs on the paint?
Yeah, so the burn through, if you look at it, it's on a raised body line. So that's where paint is thinnest, and that's where people that are not careful tend to buff and burn through. So my team is gonna be careful. We're gonna use a very safe tool. It's a free spinning 15mm orbital polisher. And of course, we're gonna use soft foam pads, not wool pads on rotary buffers like so much of the industry that cause this kind of damage.
Okay.
So it'd be very, very safe. And the other thing is I got a little technique called the rule of thumb, and it's because I always got my thumb with me. But you see my thumbnail's about 3/4 of an inch long?
Yeah.
So if you put my thumb at that edge, and if I tell the guys to buff a thumbnail distance away from the edge, that way they'll stay away from all these edges. Now they'll naturally kind of flutter close because that's the elements of a human muscle holding a machine, but they'll still stay off those edges. So that way it'll have a uniform appearance so the car will look amazing.
I like that rule of thumb.
Rule of thumb.
We are in full attack mode with these two Lambos. Paint issues or not, we still have to get these cars done today.
All right, Mike, looking at these wheels, they are very intricate and look difficult to clean. So how are we gonna attack this?
Well, this is where I got a little trick, okay? It's the shoestring trick.
Okay.
Here, take it, because you're gonna be using it. Okay, first thing we do is you need to get some metal polish on there. For this, we're gonna use the Sonax Chrome and Aluminum Paste. And the thing about this, and this is important, is you cannot remove scratches out of chrome, so you don't wanna use anything that's abrasive. So all I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna come down here and kind of like you're painting, just paint some of this on each one of the spokes. You're gonna bring this in, go around a spoke, and then kind of cross over, and then just start rubbing this back and forth. Check that out.
Don't mind me, just flossing the spokes.
To get the wheels and tires clean, we're gonna use an all-purpose cleaner from Sonax called Multi-Star. And the thing I like about it is it's safe on everything. Now this is the pump vaporizer. And when you buy the Multi-Star, you can buy it ready to use in a consumer version, or if you're like me and you use a lot of this product, you can buy it in a 10-liter bottle. And then you can just use it in the vaporizer here, spray it on like that, agitate, wipe off, and you're done. Now, this wheel is what they call a component wheel. So the wheel itself, the rim, is base coat, clear coat, so kind of like paint on a new car. It's a clear coat system. This is a nickel finish, and then this is cadmium plated. So we've actually got 3 different surfaces going on here, and again, this is where the Multi-Star shines because it's safe on anything.
This is the final stretch, but these Lamborghinis need to be a few steps beyond perfect, which means we've still got work to do. We're almost done with Adam Carolla's 2 stunning vintage Lamborghinis. But to make sure these rides grab top dollar when they head to auction, we can leave no stone unturned. We're down to the details, but there are a lot of details.
Well, the next thing we want to do is seal the deal, put the wax on. So the compounds and the polishes are basically water soluble. They make the paint look good, but that gloss that you see is the oils, which could wash off or get wiped off with a spray detailer. So what we're gonna do now is we're gonna use a traditional carnauba wax. This is the Sonax high-speed wax.
Okay.
And this is a great product because you can spray it on, spread it around, wipe it off, you're done. It's
Oh, you
that
don't have to
fast.
let it set?
Nope, you haven't let it set at all. So just, I mean, here, I'll do this side, you do that side.
Okay.
So I just,
So just a little
mist them on,
spray?
then
Okay.
take your towel, spread it around softly because we just spent all this time polishing it. Now that we spread it out, see the haze that's on there?
Yeah.
Okay, so most spray waxes on the market are just a glorified spray detailer. There's really no protection in them, you know. They make water beat up, but there's no wax protection. You can see a layer of carnauba wax there. This is the real deal. But watch this. Go ahead and turn your towel to the dry side.
Okay.
And then wipe off. See how easy that wipes off?
Yeah.
You know, one of the things people complain about the most is how hard a wax wipes off. It leaves white residue, stains trim. None of that with this wax. All you get is a fantastic looking finish, and it's protected.
Mike, I think we're done.
I agree. Guys, we're done. Towels down. You guys did an amazing job. This is what Adam was looking for. Let's pack up and get out.
Yeah, we're done.
Wow, wow, wubsy. Look at this.
What do you think?
Oh my God. I gotta tell you, man, I've owned both these cars for quite some time and they've never winked at me like this. They're just bouncing the light off in a million different directions. I turned the corner, saw those 2 cars, and was absolutely blown away. First off, this car, I've always known that there was a diamond hiding in the rough, but I couldn't pull it off. You guys did. I mean, this looks amazing. I am so impressed.
What do you think of the wheels?
Oh my God, I didn't even get down there. So spectacular. The interior, the first thing that caught my eye was this big luggage landing back there, and just how dull and lifeless it was, and how rich it looks now. I'm scared to touch it. But this one looks every bit as good. I mean, this color has always been a little mute and a little flat. It never popped. For the first time in its life, it's popping. Not to mention all the bright work, the stainless and the chrome.
I hope we lived up to your expectations to bring in top dollar.
We'll reconvene when the hammer drops.
Okay.
But we are definitely putting our best foot forward. Be careful what you wish for, because I was wishing for them looking amazing, but now I want to keep them. But it just means I'm going to be angry at anyone who buys them unless they hollow out their kids' savings account and sell like a prosthetic limb to get these cars. What you guys did was make these two cars the best they could possibly be. I am truly convinced that whatever this thing gets on the auction block, you guys have added at least 10% to that hammer number. So this is fantastic.
I've known the cars for a few years now, actually, and they were always, you know, nice driver quality cars, older repaint, things like that, but very original too. He told me he was having the cars prepared for the show, and they were like, oh, they look brand new. And I was like, okay, sure, you know, we'll see. And I got here and I was like, wow.
I must say, when the black 350 got out and got under the lights and put on the turntable, I want to run up and just hug it and say it's not for sale. They both presented amazingly and just were spectacular. I mean, Mike and the crew's work was amazing.
The hours were long, the work was hard, but we've definitely made Adam's vintage Lamborghinis competition ready.